KGVO Missoula, KGVO FM Frenchtown, AM 1290 and 1015 FM. Sports Talk tonight and streaming online at Newstalk, KGVO.com.
Well, mercy sakes alive, it must be a Wednesday. That's why we're in the studio for Sports Talk tonight. Welcome on board, everybody. It's great to have you in here. My superstar co-host, Scott Gurnsey, is vacationing tonight, so this week, I should say. So, as always, we bother him, we disturb him, we disrupt him from his busy work schedule, but he does a good job of pretending that it's okay to keep bothering him. Sports Information Director Eric Tabor from the University of Montana.
Hello, Denny.
My co-host tonight. Welcome back. I guess actually by your standards, it's been a little while since we burdened you with coming in.
At least a few months. I didn't know how to get in the door. I forgot where the place was, where the parking was. It was crazy.
Wow. All right. Well,
you guys gave away my cot in the other room over there. So,
but you did get right of first refusal. You know, when I needed a co-host. Sure, I could have asked Riley Corcoran because Riley was in here voicing. Riley was in here voicing a commercial, but I said to Riley, I said, look, Eric's got right of first refusal. If he can't make it, I will hound you to be my host. He said, well, that's okay. Yeah, I do that. I said, Eric's got right of first refusal. And you didn't refuse, and we're thrilled to have you here.
Well, we got so much going on with Grizzly athletics right now. A lot of news, a lot of awesome stuff going on. So
I'm sure that people think once the football has been done for a while, obviously once basketball wraps up, all of a sudden a sports information director goes into hibernation. They forget softball, and they forget track and field, and they forget everything else, tennis, everything else that's going on. There's a ton of stuff going on, and a lot of it is in Missoula this weekend. A lot of sporting events. But before we get to that, of course, the other thing that happens when you bring in the sports information director this time of year is that everybody's that follows the Grizzly going, yeah, you don't see much in the newspapers or hear about very much. I'll bet he knows something good about spring practice. Now, there haven't been a lot of practices per se. I mean, they got the helmets and the gym shorts on or whatever. But you are already covering spring drills for the University of Montana football team.
I am. In fact, I came over here directly from spring practice. So, got that. We've had two, including today, we've had two full pads practices. And they've been great. I've been really impressed with the energy of the team. The guys are out there looking sharp. The offense is moving the ball. The defense takes it away every once in a while. You're seeing things that you want to see out of the team. Coach Stitt's really happy. He's loving the way they're practicing. And it's just fun to get back on the field. Like Monday they strapped on the full pads for the first time, and guys were popping each other. There's a few. We had the Oklahoma drill today, where it's basically 2-on-2 in a 5-yard square, and you try and get one guy the ball, and he tries to get a touchdown, and it's full contact, and the guys get hyped about it. So so far it's been really good. They had two practices before spring break, which is a little weird, but they're helmets-only practices.
Right.
So during that time, you're just installing the offense anyway, and that's actually a pretty good test for the guys. They come back, hey, what did you forget while you were down in Cabo or whatever over spring break?
And naturally, the sports information director gets asked the most, okay, who they installing that offense for? Who's our next quarterback?
Big question.
It's a huge question, and I think that the athletic department, or the coaching staff, I should say, kind of taking the high road on that, saying, everybody's going to get equal time. Everybody brings a little something here and there to the table. It's obviously too early to say, this guy is standing out more than the other, whether he's got, in the case of our senior Reese Phillips, whether he's been with the program a year or not. I think the automatic assumption is, that's probably the front runner. But, the redshirt freshman was here last year too, so you don't know. But.
Right, and, the staff takes a pretty pragmatic approach to it. Is like, okay, Reese is the senior, and he's been here for a year, so he's going to be the guy for right now. And it's the other two guys' job to go beat him out. And it's been fun to watch so far. All three guys are similar in a lot of ways. Gress Jensen, the freshman, he's got a great little release on his pass. Got a strong arm, great release, real sharp-looking pass. But they're not afraid to use their feet. None of the three guys. So they're sort of similar in a lot of ways. But so it makes it hard to differentiate. I'm not a quarterback coach, so I don't know exactly what they're looking for. But each guy has done well.
Have you had an opportunity to interview them individually, take the temperature a little bit yet?
I have, and I sat down with all three of them for probably 15 minutes each.
Yeah.
And I did a little story about that, and I put it out a few days ago in the spring prospectus, and they're all really well spoken. They're really smart kids, And Caleb Hill, he is as Texas guy as you've ever met a Texas guy. Yes sir, no sir. Comes from a real blue collar family, small town kind of guy, and they're all just as pleasant to talk to as you'd ever want. And that's great. And they've been doing interviews with other folks and media guys around town and been doing a fantastic job on that. And that, to me, that tells me something about a quarterback. Like he's got enough between his ears to be able to handle a situation like that. Speak calmly, speak clearly, speak his mind, and speak for the team. And these guys all do that.
What other questions are being asked? What other possible, not controversies, but issues as to who's going to get the starting position? I know at different positions. What is kind of starting to emerge in terms of curiosity about the team?
The one that everybody's talking about is the long snapper position. I mean, we got to know who that starting long snapper is.
Yeah.
We lost Aaron Held last year.
Yes,
I love to talk about this guy.
A school record 37 years. We had Aaron Held for 37 years, I think, as the long snapper.
600 straight starts for the kid
at the University of Montana.
And he was one of my favorite kids last year. He's going to med school. He's a smart kid.
He came to the Tuesday. Kid. You may recall he came to one of the Tuesday coaches shows.
That's right.
A real good kid.
Yeah. So anyway, we have 3 long snappers that'll be in there working with the kickers. The kickers is probably another position where a lot of people are wondering what's going to happen there. Because Tim Semenza, people don't realize that he missed 3 field goals last year. He was the 7th leading scorer in the Big Sky in any position. Mm-hmm. But he missed a handful of PATs. That's the chip shot. We got golf guys coming in here.
That's the collar that he's wearing going into this season, so hopefully get that turned around. But so we've got other sports to talk about. University of Montana head golf coach Matt Higgins is with us tonight. Matt's been on the show once before. And Chris Nowlen, who is the club pro at the Missoula Country Club, who won a very prestigious award. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And since they're waiting to go, we better get to trivia a little bit early so we can give them plenty of time, because I know Chris has got to get going a little bit early. So let's get to trivia there. That brought to you by Fuddruckers and Happy Days Car Wash, 721-1290 if you know the answer. If you do, you win a $10 gift certificate to the home of the world's greatest hamburgers, Fuddruckers. Whatever you order off that menu, you get to go top it yourself. You go over there and pile on the pickles and lay on the lettuce, whatever you want to do. Just amazing how many different combinations you can go with. But you're the one that gets to put it all on there at Fuddruckers, and a gift card for a deluxe car wash from Brent and the crew at Happy Days Car Wash. I should say it's the Works Car Wash. The Works. That's a good car wash. That's even deluxeier than a deluxe.
My truck is spotless because of that car wash.
They were voted Missoulian Reader Poll favorite again this year. Happy Days Car Wash, where they also have the dog wash. If it's you're getting next to the dog and going, phew, boy. They got a dog wash over there, too. Happy Days is on Brooks between Pizza Hut and Fairbridge Inn and Suites. So, 721-1290, if you know the answer to our trivia. Since we got the golf guys in here tonight, we thought we'd check Eric Tabor's scorecard and make sure he's not cheating. Now, you're out on the course with Eric, and he just albatrossed a hole. Did he, A, shoot 2 under par, B, shoot 4 over par, or C, shoot 3 under par on that hole?
Or D, wake up from a dream.
Hint, it often goes by another bird term, but 721-1290, you're out on the course with Eric. He just albatrossed a hole. Did he A, shoot 2 under par, B, shoot 4 over par, or C, shoot 3 under par on that hole? 721-1290, Eric.
This segment of Sports Talk Tonight brought to you by Orange Street Food Farm, locally owned and operated grocery store featuring the freshest fruits and vegetables, fresh meats, and a great beer and wine selection, too. Orange Street Food Farm. We'll be back on Sports Talk Tonight right after this.
You got it. Your chance to win at 721-1290. Call us now.
The savings continue during CHS Mountain West Cooperative's March Hot Buys. Now, Stride Gum is just 2 for $1. With several flavors to choose from at 2 packs for $1, you can try them all. Get the Stride Revolution Icy Mint, Peppermint, Spearmint, Mellow Peach, and Stride Sour Patch Red Berry. And don't forget, when you need propane, feed, or supplies for your livestock and pets, it's all at CHS Mountain West Cooperative. CHS Mountain West Cooperative in Missoula and Ronan.
Your one-stop ranch and home store, Mountain West Cooperative.
At Belmacall Ford in Hamilton, they take the guesswork out of buying a car or truck. Now's a great time to take advantage of the closeout pricing on new 2016s, like the Ford Focus SE hatchback, saving over $6,000 with factory discounts now just $15,295. Save over $11,000 on the 2016 F-150 Super Crew 4x4. Belmacall has big savings on remaining 2016s in stock, and check out the new 2017 Expedition and Escapes. Belmacall Ford, Hamilton.
There's a lot of bank ads on this station that say they're better. So, which bank is really better? Think about it. A free checking account or a free checking account that pays you back every time you use your debit card and more. Drop by and see why First Montana Bank Centennial Checking is probably better than your old account. You can even open an account online at firstmontanabank.com. First Montana Bank, a great community bank, member FDIC.
Oh, hi. Right now, I'm getting a remarkably heartfelt bear hug from Smokey Bear. Thanks, big guy. Now, if you could let me down. See, I made sure there were no low-hanging branches when I set up my campfire. And before we left, I drowned out my campfire, stirred it, drowned it out again, then made sure it was cold. Visit SmokeyBear.com to learn tips to prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk Tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports.
Every second of every day.
Welcome back to Sports Talk Tonight. This is Eric Tabor, Sports Information Director, University of Montana. This segment of Sports Talk Tonight brought to you by Grizzly Liquor, located downtown next to the Iron Horse. Big Sky, big selection, and online at grizzlyliquor.com. Danny, here we got a trivia winner.
We do. Our winner is, I better push the button to make sure he's still there. He's Sean Harmon of Missoula. How are you tonight, Sean?
Thanks. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing very good. Are you a Sports Talk Tonight regular, or did you just lose a bet, or what happened there?
I lost a bet and heard some guys were going to be on there that I know.
The promo. Yeah, we got the golf dudes on. You're a golfer, right?
Yeah, that's what they say.
Well, when I was looking for a winner, I think I overheard that maybe the golf dude's going to sweeten the prize pot a little bit here, but we'll find out. But since we have them on, we thought we'd do a golf check question and check Eric Tabor's score. Make sure he didn't cheat. You're out on the course with Eric. He just albatrossed a hole. Did he A, shoot 2 under par, B, shoot 4 over par, or C, shoot 3 under par on the hole? What do you think there, Sean?
I'd have to go with C, 3 under.
Yeah, on one hole. It's also known as a double eagle. Pretty rare, I guess. I mean, you'd have to hit I guess you'd have to ace a par 4 or shoot a 2 on a 5, which your scorecard claims you do. But
I do it all the time.
Yeah,
on my
you're
scorecard.
You're the king albatross here.
King of albatrosses. No,
well,
put it in the sand.
Good job, Sean. We're happy to have you be part of the winners family. So we've got a gift certificate to Fuddruckers and a gift card to Happy Days Car Wash. And Chris from the Missoula Country Club, I think you said you wanted to.
Sure, we'll give him 2 18-hole rounds in a cart at the club.
Nice.
Wow.
Although I will mention that he is a good friend of both Matt and I and plays a lot of golf with us, Sean does. So we will be giving him a hard time about it.
Okay, so he actually has to give the prize back. You're not really giving away anything. You're just trying to sound like a big shot now, and then Sean has to forfeit that prize. So, yes, He has to forfeit the victory. Hey, Sean, thank you so much for listening. We'll hang up on you so you can listen to your buddies on the radio, all right?
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right.
Sean Harmon, our latest winner. And Eric, I'll have you introduce our guests.
All right, we got 2 guests, Denny, in here, and one I know very well. One I've met before, but it's good to see you again. Chris Nowlen, we'll start with you. You are the golf pro over at the Missoula Country Club, and if I'm reading this correctly, the section's highest honor being named the 2016 Golf Pro of the Year. So that's pretty awesome. And our other guest, Matt Higgins, golf coach, University of Montana. So welcome, guys.
Well, thank you very much.
Good to have you here.
How does one become the Golf Pro of the Year? That's my first question.
Well, first off, let me clarify. I'm the general manager, director of golf of Missoula Country Club. I don't want to take anything away from my head golf professional, Connor Sproul, because he's
Connor and I went to high school together.
Exactly, and he's a great golf professional and a great staff member and team player for me. And that award is pretty amazing. I was very blessed to receive it. There's 1,200 golf pros in the Pacific Northwest, and to to be selected, you're nominated by your peers, and then a group of peers do the selection, and you have to submit a bio, and there's obviously out of that 1,200 a lot of guys that are deserving, and somehow I'm ended up at the top of that. And I got to give a lot of credit to my teams at the various clubs I've worked at and the people I've worked for, and the things we've accomplished. So it's very neat.
And what is some of the criteria? What are they looking for? What rocket do you do?
Well, first off, it's not about playing ability.
Okay. Nice. All right, Eric, you and I are in.
I'm in.
You and I are in for next year.
I love being a golf pro, but I'm not a playing golf pro. Okay. It's a lot about what you do as a golf professional in your area with your peers, and the Western Montana chapter PGA is very active in the Pacific Northwest section, and I'm a part of that. And what you do at your club and the accomplishments that happen, and my board of directors at Missoula Country Club has helped me. We've accomplished a lot in the last few years, and at the prior club I was at, we had super success, and so basically I just described those successes, and it's kind of about being all of a golf professional and a manager, and wearing all the hats, and whoever wears all the hats the best, I think, and I was pretty lucky that way.
And I suppose sometimes the smaller the community, and maybe Matt can attest to this as a coach at the University of Montana, the smaller the community, probably the more hats, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think when you start putting all those hats on paper, somebody said neat and wow, and that's pretty cool. The award presentation was fantastic. My board president, Chris Helmer, and past president, Mike Peisig, were both able to attend, and then they drug them up there onto the stage and made them talk, and by the time it was done, it was a really honorable and great thing.
Man.
And where was that at? That was the
Bellevue, Washington, at Glendale Country Club, and the president of the PGA was there and handed those awards out. It was a true honor.
What is Missoula as a golf community like when you compare it to other cities, say similar in population and similar in climate? Chris, are we golf crazy? Are we always trying to recruit a lot more guys? Where are we at on that anyway? As far as how does Missoula stack up?
I would say we're pretty golf crazy. We have a lot of golf opportunities with the number of courses we have, and more and more it seems all of Western Montana junior programs are huge. One of my peers and friends, Cameron Milton from Polson, won Junior Golf Leader, and we do the PGA Junior League with them, and we do a lot of instruction, a lot of camps for kids, and right along with Matt and what they do for the Nike camp, and all through Western Montana and Missoula. It's just a big deal, and it keeps growing the game. Those are the kids of the future. They're the golf members for my club and other clubs, and that's a big part of what we do, and so we measure up very well in the Pacific Northwest and around the country for our growth in those programs and what we're doing.
Man, I tell you, I grew up in Missoula and was fortunate enough to go, other places, live other places for a long time. And people are like, live from Montana. What do you do in Montana? Ride horses? Well, in the winter you ski, and in the summer you golf. And that's about it, That's kind of what people do. So,
you got a nice life, dude. That's all you.
It seems like people do that. My brother, for one, he's skiing or golfing, one of the two.
On the perfect weekend, ski one day, golf the other.
Yeah. Well, you can do that this weekend too. So I drove by their day, and I noticed the guys out there getting the greens in shape. Apparently Tuesday was the first day on the greens, and the course looks like in great shape right now. Actually.
Yeah, we're 8 days in, and we're fully with carts, and we actually, I was really worried. I think everybody in Western Montana has been worried. It was a strong winter, and there was a lot of snow on the ground for a long time. But we're very fortunate that the golf course came out in great shape, and even with not seeing a lot of sun, things are turning green.
Oh, that's terrific.
I think we're headed for a great season.
What is that? Frost mold? Is that what they call it? You guys?
Snow mold.
Snow mold. Yeah. So you guys, from what I hear, you guys did something to sort of abate that this year. Does that help the grass get that green this early?
Yeah, we have a pretty strong fungicide program in the fall, and that's the challenge. We do our fairways and our greens pretty heavily, and some people just do the greens, and then they have to weather the storm with the pink and gray snow mold. Yeah. That's all I know is the words.
Well, let's
me too.
Let's check in with Matt Higgins, head golf coach, University of Montana. Matt, you've been racking up a few miles.
Yeah, a lot of miles this spring so far, but it's been
recap
fun.
Where all you have been. I mean, every time I read an article, it's like, there's another 4,000 frequent flyer miles for Higgins there.
Actually, I think it's been 21,000 frequent flyer miles since the beginning of the year. But we've been to, we've been to Dallas, and then our other two tournaments were in the Los Angeles area. So going back and forth there. So our next tournament's coming up here in Phoenix, so we'll have to suffer the warmth and get down there next week.
Yeah. You know, the men's tennis team was just in Phoenix, and it was 105 every day on the court. They said, "I do not want any part of it."
Yeah, Chris said he wanted just a little bit of a change, not a big change. So.
Yeah, that's a bit drastic. Yeah. Well, and when you go on trips like that, compete in tournaments or whatever, the level of competition pretty high. A lot of prominent schools in those kinds of tournaments. Has that been good for a team, or are you happy with how the team has performed against that kind of competition?
You know, my belief as a coach throughout my coaching career has been try to get us in the best competition and play the best competition. There are tournaments out there that are, I could classify them as maybe weaker fields, and you might do better, but I'm a strong believer that these girls need to see how good the competition is, and so we've been trying to get into the tournaments that we can with the best competition. So our second tournament this spring was Long Beach State, and they had, I think, boy, maybe Eric would know, I don't even know, but I think they had like 6 or 7 top 50 teams or top 75 teams in the country. So, you know, so we're trying to play the strongest fields that we can.
And so, but you had some success though. The last tournament you went to, hosted by Oral Roberts down in spring break in Dallas, 5th place, and you guys were sitting in with a shot, as far as I recall, with going to the last day of competition. You're right there, and those teams seemed like there's pretty good, solid competition for you.
Yeah, you know, it was a big field, so I mean, it wasn't just like an 8 or 9 field tournament.
Yeah, but 16.
16 teams, and it was a 3-day tournament. Going into that last day, we were in 2nd place, 8 strokes back. So it was a new situation for, I think, most of these girls that have in college golf at least.
Right.
So, you know, it was a good experience. We didn't play our best that 3rd day, but I think, you know, maybe some nerves got to a few of them, and we were a little tight coming out, but it was a good experience, and I think they learned from that. So.
Well, yeah, and, you know, along those lines, it seems that it's the kind of sport and the scoring system and everything where you can say, well, wow, gee whiz, they only finished 11th out of 12 teams. That doesn't sound very good. But then you look at the minuscule number of strokes overall over a 3-day period or a 4-day period?
54 holes.
54 holes. Okay, so like a 3-day period. It's amazing just what small margins there can be between, say, a 10th place finish and a 3rd place finish.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, we get stats from GolfStat, is the college scoring official scores for college golf, and they always give us stats, and they always give us if everybody on your team shot 1 stroke better, or if everybody on your team shot 2 strokes. Yeah, and it shows you where you'd be ranked. So
nice.
I feel a lot better now.
But it does prove your point of how close it really is.
Yeah.
So
it really is.
Well, you've got the Wyoming Cowgirl Classic coming up April 6th and 7th down in Arizona. That's your next tournament. But then you're straight into Big Sky Conference play, and it's kind of amazing how short this season is before you're right into the tournament.
Yeah, short as far as golf season up here, I'd say in Missoula, but we've been going since the end of January, and our first tournament was over Valentine's weekend, so we've been going pretty hard. Spring break was nice to give the girls a little break. We didn't go anywhere for spring break, so we gave them a little break. But yeah, we've been going pretty hard.
Yeah, 21,000 miles worth. And as far as getting those invitations, how do they find out about you? I mean, I guess I suppose that's a real obvious answer to that, but you know, I guess when you're a school up in the Northwest and you're limited a little bit by the season, you probably
if they can golf in Laramie, Wyoming right now. They can golf in Missoula.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's talking about January and February too. You're a name school. You're the University of Montana, and so I suppose is it tough to get invited to these, or do you got kind of a menu to choose from? Or how
no, it's based on. They like to invite the better teams. So if you need to either know a coach or know someone in the program, and that's usually how most of the invites happen. So we've been very fortunate just through the past and through some of my connections that it's been good to get invited to some of these tournaments.
Awesome. Well, Chris, I know you have to hit the road and go back and make sure my brother's not making any poor decisions at a board meeting or something like that at the club. So pleasure having you on, and that's a fantastic trinket to put on your shelf, as it were. So
thank you very much.
Yeah, that's very good stuff. And there's a lot happening down at the country club, I know. So
I will say, sorry to interrupt you, I will say, and Chris is pretty humble, but he does do a tremendous job down there. I'm fortunate to be a member at the club, and the stuff that he does behind the scenes and how well that course is run, it's truly commendable, and he surely deserved that award. So.
Thank you very much.
How is that structured, Chris, when you have to answer to a board? And I'm not trying to imply that they are a pain in the butt and they've all got their own opinions, but they're all like Tabor. They're a pain in the butt.
My brother. My brother's on the board, so yeah.
But and you talked about wearing a lot of hats, but how is that structured to where somebody in your position works with a board and or just all members at a country club?
That's a very good question. I think a lot of it.
They're all listening, so if you get the answer wrong,
exactly,
we're taking they'll take your trophy away.
I think it's a very fun dynamic if you approach it the right way. I think some people think that it'd be difficult or challenging, but I've been very fortunate at Missoula Country Club. This is my 5th year, and the boards that I've worked with have all been very enjoyable to work with. I'm kind of the project doer and the guy that wants to make a difference and make things better for the members. I'm all about a member benefit in all of the programs we do. We know we've remodeled the country clubhouse, and we're doing a project 5, 6, and 7 right now to change some tees, and it's just going to turn out gorgeous. And Matt's been along the ride with me because he's fairly, he's been at the club for a couple of years now, and around. But we play together, and we have a good group of guys that we play with on weekends at now and again, and actually quite a bit. And it's the relationships. It's about the communication and about forward thinking and forward planning, and really the energy, the country club life. I think the boards thrive and I thrive and the members thrive because you have positive energy.
Well, you just mentioned 3 holes. That's a lot out of 18. You talked about reconfiguration. Can you explain what you're doing a little bit?
Really, we're just changing the cart path, pouring a new concrete cart path from the 5th green to the 7th tee, and then we're rebuilding the tee complex on number 6. Yep. So, but it is going to turn out pretty cool. It really is going to turn out very nice.
Can you do anything about my slice? That's really what I want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can. Connor can. And we have a couple of other new assistants that can as well.
We'll put bumpers, like they do for some little kids for bowling. We'll put bumpers along the side there. So,
I'll just stick to the driving range.
I'm going to return the favor and commend Matt. Their kids practice out at the country club a lot, and the girls are very polite and do a great job of taking care of our facility, and they work very hard. And sometimes it doesn't show, like you said. You count 4 out of 5 scores in a round, right? Yep. So not only when you talk about a slim margin and talk about 3 days worth of play, but you're also counting 4 players, and you're adding all that together. And geez, the difference between 5th and 12th is a very small margin. So you've done a spectacular job with the team, and we enjoy having them out there.
If you had to describe it to somebody who hasn't seen it but is yet an avid golfer and curious, what would be, you put your best foot forward, some of the greatest attributes about the Missoula Country Club course?
Well, I think we both can say right away the triangle. The triangle is a practice area that's between 1 and 10, and we see Matt's girls out there a lot, and we see a lot of members out there. We don't have a huge driving range, but we have this incredible practice area with a putting green, chipping green, and 6 holes that they can practice about any yardage they want with their irons. And that has, I think, produced some really good players out of Missoula Country Club. And I think it's one of the things that, Matt, I'm speaking for you.
It's very unique. I haven't seen that type of short game practice with so many courses.
It's really, it's a nice thing to have. Not to mention, we celebrated our 100th year last year. The tree line fairways and the golf course is just that traditional country club. You go, Lincoln, Nebraska Lincoln Country Club is very similar, and they've been there forever, and they just tree line fairways on both sides and great speedy greens, and it's fun.
The iconic sort of tree that you've got on the club logo is on at the end of
10.
10, yeah. What kind of tree is that? I always wondered.
An elm, I believe.
Nice. It's that corner of the course is my favorite. Then of course you got 17 dropping down that par 3 down to the river there. I love that in the summertime because you can. You see all the kids on rafts floating by on the river, you know what I mean? And, my slice comes in handy there. Try and win $20 by hitting one in the head. But
it's certainly a beautiful place. I left Montana and went to Nebraska, worked for 6 years, and when I left, it was because it was a club like Missoula. So you get to come back is pretty spectacular and a great part of that story. But the Missoula Country Club is a pretty unique place and a great golf course.
Speaking of a slice, Eric, it's not the Country Club, but it's Larchmont. Maybe it's a bad draw. I don't know. We find golf balls in our parking lot here every once in a while.
Oh, I bet you do.
I'm sure I put them there.
Pretty big one.
You talk about maybe accidentally hitting somebody in the river. I imagine a few cars have been doinked over the years.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it has to be.
I think our engineer told us he actually found one up on the roof of this building, which I think somebody would have probably been having to try to do that. I'm not too sure. But
so can I push something really quick?
Sure. Oh, yes, please.
So my favorite thing that's going on right now, I briefly touched on, is PGA Junior League. And it is a PGA program that is it's a kids team game. It's Little League golf, basically. And if there's kids out there, parents are listening on the radio, I really encourage you to take a look at it.
Oh, gosh.
In Western Montana, it grew. It's 3 times bigger than it was a year ago. Wow. And it is a super program. It's very low stress because the kids play a two-person scramble. It is a lot of fun. There's 12 kids on a team, and it is a kick. So if somebody's looking for a way to get their junior in, I think Matt can attest. Juniors, start them early, get them playing, but this is a fun way to do it without the grueling of playing 9 holes by yourself. It's just a really fun program, and it's the fastest growing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And the age range again? What is
7 to 13.
7 to 13. Wow. Okay.
And
they get to play a lot of nice courses too.
They get to play a lot. Yeah.
Wow.
Western Montana, we have 6 teams that play in our area, and then Great Falls and Helena have 5 or 6 teams, and North and Flathead, and then they all meet together for a championship, and one team goes on to play as far as they can, just like Little League Baseball or any of the others, but it's golf, and I really encourage people to take a look at it.
Yeah, and I know you got to get going. We'll take a break here, and then we want Matt to talk about his team. But before you go, Chris, I imagine another thing that kind of is under your duty umbrella is country clubs are probably always actively recruiting and going after membership. Anything there that we need to know about?
Absolutely. This is a great time to join Missoula Country Club. We have a promotion that's going on that ends the 1st of May, and I would encourage anybody that's interested in looking at membership to do it now. We've remodeled our clubhouse, our pool, the golf course is in great shape. We have this great energy going on, and we are extremely busy. We're on the rise, and we'd love to have you. If you're interested, come look me up, and I'd be happy to give you a tour and take a look at membership.
All right.
All right. We will
Thank
go
you
to
guys
break.
very much.
Thank you. We appreciate having you in. Matt, you stay put. We're not done with you yet.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay.
This segment of Sports Talk Tonight brought to you by Bell McCall Ford. Great selection of new and used cars, trucks, and SUVs. Bell McCall is your locally owned low-cost auto dealer for over 100 years in downtown Hamilton. We will be right back with Matt Higgins and more on Sports Talk Tonight.
With spring comes one of Jerry Russell's Les Schwab Tire Center's biggest sales.
Sports Talk Tonight, live from the KGVO studio.
Missoula Sports.
And welcome back to Sports Talk Tonight. Our guest, Matt Higgins, brought to you by Granite Pharmacy, locally owned and operated pharmacy on South Avenue between Shopko and Big Sky High School. Find them at granitepharmacy.com. With us, Matt Higgins, golf coach, University of Montana. Matt, good to have you back, and good for a second segment. And because I wanted to talk more about the team. You and I were chatting months ago now, like probably in the fall at some point, and you were telling me about the statistics that you keep with your team, because golf is just loaded with numbers, right?
Yes.
Oh man, and I love this stuff. I'm a sports information Denny. I'm a sports information director. I love me some numbers.
This is our numbers nerd section. Yeah.
Let's talk some stats, baby.
Yeah, Gurnsey's the same way, although it's with baseball. You know, he is obsessed with box scores and keeping score, and so there's.
I like to beautiful mind that stuff, every once in a while I get football stats going in my head, and it starts getting crazy. But
it probably matters a lot to a coach, you know.
It does.
For us, numbers don't lie, so that's why I keep as much as I can keep track of. So.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing about it too, and especially in a game like golf, where you can start plotting results, and you can find out if the 7-iron was better there, or the 6-iron was better, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And it you can graph that stuff out, and it makes a pretty obvious visual representation, because your golf's a very repetitive game, right? So I'm looking at your results that we talked earlier about, that 5th place finish down in Dallas. Have you seen, what's the trend been with your team? have you seen? Obviously, the scores are improving, so things are looking good.
I would attribute it to two different things. One of the things is first thing I would say is coming out with the first tournament, even in this past fall, what I noticed looking at the stats where we hit a lot of fairways as a team in general. We're right around 70%, but our hitting greens in regulation dropped considerably. So when we came out to our first tournament this February, I think we hit 42% of our greens, and we're hitting 70% of fairways. So obviously, as a coach, you're like, well, we need to work on some iron shots and short iron shots. So then we went up to Long Beach, improved to 49%. And then the Dallas tournament, we hit, I think, almost 60% of our greens.
Wow.
So, I mean, you can
and
directly
still,
attribute it.
And obviously still maintaining that high
the
percentage
75%. I think Dallas were 77% of our fairways and 59 or 60% of our greens.
Was it just kind of working on a distance issue?
No, it's just
accuracy more than distance.
I think it's just trusting the club and going through and working on what we needed to work on, identifying what we needed to work on. The second thing I think that helps is just what we've been working on is just our mental side of the game. As you know, golf is such a mental game that if you have no confidence out there, just like any sport, I kind of think of a kicker in football or someone maybe I remember Chuck Knobloch. I'm from the Minnesota Twins. I'm from Minnesota. Chuck Knobloch, he was a great second baseman. Then all of a sudden, he can throw from second base to first base, and I think that was all in his head, So
he got the throwing yips.
Yeah. So I mean, golf can be the same thing. If you get something in your head and you can't get that out, you're going to struggle. So we've been working a lot with mental practice, mental game, having confidence, working through some clear key and pre-shot routines and those types of things, which it's been paying off, and hopefully in the future too.
Well, and I would think at that level of competition, you can't take a shot off either as far as the mental aspect of it, because you've got, hey, great drive, nice approach shot. Oh boy, third shot is off in the rough or it's in the water or something like that. I mean, it's just shot after shot after shot. Or wow, they got on there and in regulation, then they three putt things like that. So
well, and the one thing I love about golf too is not only are they battling themselves, but they're battling the elements. I don't think we've been to a tournament yet, even though we've been to LA twice and Dallas. It's rained everywhere we've gone. I don't think it's been over 60 degrees and it's been windy. So they're not only battling their own selves, inner selves, but they're battling the elements, which is very unique.
Yeah, you got the 2 days of rain that Southern California's had in the last 100 years or something like that.
Exactly.
They'll quit inviting the University of Montana, I think.
Well, we've joked with all the players on the team that she's the reason why, because she put up her umbrella and it quit raining and took it down and it started raining again. So we've got a little running joke there.
Well, this is your second year. You're kind of right in the meat of your second year now, and we were just kind of talking during the break. You're just kind of getting your hands on your own recruiting class now, because you came into the program sort of right before the season started, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, actually, first day of school was my first day on the job.
Wow.
So it was just jumped right in there. So it's been nice that, since that first day, really, I've been working on this 2017 class and got a couple girls that signed, and we're looking forward to bringing them in, and now I'm focusing on the next year's class.
Well, we'll talk about some of the players on your team. What has some of the impressions so far? How do you like the squad?
Great group of girls. That's the first thing I have to say is they're hard workers. They do what they have to do to get better, and rarely do I need to push them as a coach, but when I do, they respond to it, and that's what you want from being a coach. I got some good players as far as how they approach the game, where they study the courses, the pre-work that's done when we go play a tournament, so that they're really. I've seen them grow in the last year and a half since I've been here. I've seen them grow, just not only as golfers, but just as young women in general. Yeah. So that's been really rewarding to see. Throw the scores aside, that's been one of the most rewarding parts to see.
I mean, that's why people coach, right? I mean, when I coached, it was just the best part of it is to get to relationships with the young kids and see them go from a sort of awkward freshman, and not very good athlete, to develop, mind, body, everything,
And, some girls don't take to that right away, and some take to it, very soon once they get into school. But, that's part of the job. And And I think everything translates. It translates in their schoolwork. It translates in their social life. Yeah. And I believe it translates on the golf course.
I suppose it's a little bit different in recruiting for a golf coach than some other sports. Like, we've asked the volleyball coach this question and the basketball coaches. And can or does a golf coach try to recruit a certain player that fits their coaching style?
Yeah, I think every coach tries to recruit players that fit their program, fit their coaching style. One of the things I look at the most, the biggest quality I look at is athleticism.
Oh.
Are you athletic? I personally like multi-sport players.
Right.
If I can find, we've gotten into this time where kids are so focused on one sport. My own daughters are so focused in one sport, and it's really sad to see because I try to still recruit these, if they played basketball, if they played softball, if they played, ran track or soccer, and I think those are the athletes that I've always tried to recruit because I think if you can, to me, I don't know if you can teach that athleticism that they can truly have. We can teach them the swing, we can teach them the mechanics, but you still need to be athletic, and that's what really helps too. So I kind of look for that. I also have tried to look for good students. I think that translates into, if you're doing well off the course, you're going to be doing well on the course. So those are a couple things that I look at.
Well, one more question. We've only got a couple minutes left before we have to let you go, but talk a little bit about the Big Sky Conference in terms of women's golf this year. How's that shaping up, and how do you see things so far?
I'll tell you what, the Big Sky Conference is a strong golfing conference. We have just in the year and a half I've been here, some of these teams have improved dramatically. University of Idaho has a very strong team this year. Sacramento State always has a good, strong team. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple others. Northern Arizona's always had one. Northern Colorado. From top to bottom, it's a strong conference, and that's good. I love that. It pushes us. It pushes me as a coach. It pushes the players. We're looking forward to getting down there. It's a good experience. The Big Sky does a great job with hosting the event. They do a good job at hosting championships, so the golf is no different. Nice. And we're looking forward to getting down there and hopefully playing well. We last spring we shot our best conference championship rounds ever in the Grizz program, even the year they won the championship. So that kind of shows you how good the women's golf has gotten over the last 10 years.
And the scores are going in the right direction now. So
going
to head down to Arizona in a couple of weeks and then head into that conference championship with some momentum.
Yep, we hope so.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, Matt Higgins, head coach, University of Montana golf team. Matt, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Good
thanks,
seeing you.
guys. Good seeing you guys again.
Yeah.
Good luck the rest of the way, Matt.
Thank you.
We'll have you on again.
Perfect.
This guest brought to you by First Montana Bank, your home for free Centennial checking plus unlimited cash back every time you use your debit card online at montanafirstbank.com. We'll be back with more Sports Talk tonight right after this.
You got it. Stupid of the week and Steal of the week on the way with Eric Tabor in for Scott Gurnsey.
The savings continue during CHS Mountain West Cooperative's March Hot Buys. Now, Stride Gum is just 2 for $1.
Now back to Missoula's Sports Talk tonight on KGVO.
Missoula Sports.
Every second of every day.
And welcome back to Sports Talk tonight. Brought to you by Jerry Wessel's Tire Center. Locally owned, Les Schwab Tire Center provides the best tire value promise. Visit them online at jerrywesselstirecenter.com. Also brought to you by CHS Mountain West Co-op, Western Montana's source for Cenex fuel, feed, fertilizer, clothing, tack for over 75 years. Denny, more Sports Talk tonight.
Yes, sir. That right there is the Sports Information Director, University of Montana, Eric Tabor, filling in for Scott Gurnsey tonight. But he did steal Scott Gurnsey's Steal of the Week. We can't pass without, we can't let that go. It's brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality, manufactured, and fabricated steel products. Eric.
The University of North Carolina Tar Heels got away with one the other night. Oh, man, did they get away with one.
Somebody did not have them in their Final Four. I
did not, but that's okay. It's why I love college basketball and specifically the NCAA tournament, my favorite sporting event in the entire planet.
Likewise.
For these kinds of things, you know what I mean? You've got UNC in Kentucky UNC's Malik Monk drains the three-pointer. Kentucky's Malik Monk. Malik Monk drains the three-pointer. 7.3 left in the clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you're thinking, okay, one possession. What they're gonna have to break the press because Kentucky had been pressing and very well too. And just like that, quick inbounds pass, and the press just wasn't there. Like, I don't know what happened. It kind of vaporized, and all of a sudden, UNC's got possession. They've got 5 seconds left on the clock. They're right there, and Luke May, sophomore from North Carolina, which is everybody's loving this right now. The local boy, I guess he was a high school hero, kind of deal. 19-foot two-pointer, like his foot was on the three-point line, kind of thing. Wins a game for North Carolina, 75-73, and the place goes bonkers. But I've never seen a better, 10 seconds of basketball in my life, I don't think. And like I said, the reason I love that dang tournament.
I think a couple things. It wasn't deer in the headlights, but I think a couple things. One, John Calipari, the coach of Kentucky, was like, I wanted to call a timeout. I couldn't get anybody's attention, so that might have caused a little bit of hesitation with the pressure, but also, you're a pressure club, but you've got to be real careful of a whistle in a situation like that. I mean, it's not like you want to do a matador defense and let them blow by you, but you cannot risk getting a foul called in that situation either.
No, absolutely not. And that's why I was impressed with how North Carolina sort of broke that press. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like they moved the ball without any sort of threat of a foul, even.
There was no hesitation on their part on the offensive attack either. It was just kind of a bang play.
Yeah,
very exciting.
And I forget the kid's name now, but he drove into the paint, kicked it out, and May's out there just waiting. And
you bet.
God bless the kid, a sophomore.
Yeah,
love it.
Yeah, made it to his class. Yeah. Steel of the Week is brought to you by True North Steel, Western Montana's industry leader in quality manufactured and fabricated steel products. Before we let you get to a, shall we say, stupid athlete of the week, it was announced today, I guess, that there is a coaching change in Big Sky Conference men's basketball.
Yeah, a little Big Sky news. Jim Hayford over at Eastern Washington, who has been not very good to the Montana Grizzlies in recent years, every once in a while. But he's moving on to Seattle University. So he's been at Eastern 6 seasons now.
Oh, I thought it'd been longer than that.
It kind of feels like it.
Yeah.
It feels like he's been around for a while.
Maybe he made it seem like it was longer than that.
And so he's going to Seattle U, who are in the WAC, and 18-year veteran head coach, 360 career wins for Hayford. The guy can coach, and he's certainly proven that at Eastern, I think, and it's interesting to see what the motivation is to go to Seattle. It's not. I don't know if it's a bit of a step up in conference, but Eastern beat Seattle twice last year, I want to say, and it's an interesting move.
Well, would you describe it as a more? I mean, they're bad. It's not. They don't worry about football like many West Coast Conference schools and some of the WAC schools. They're not a football program there, as far as I know. So. No. They probably do devote more interest in basketball. I can't say that I can recall the last time Seattle really was kind of known as a prominent basketball program. Maybe that's why the job was available.
Hey, and
make it more so.
You live in Seattle. It's a nice school. It's a good place to be. I think it's probably there's a lot of motivation there, but it'll be interesting to see how he does there. It'll be interesting to see if that program can really step it up, and because Seattle's one of those programs that's playing a school from the Big Sky all the time. It seems like like in the non-conference season, they're always one of the schools is getting the game against.
I do know one thing now about the Seattle basketball program. Jim Hayford he's one of those coaches. There are several of them in the Big Sky, and he's one of them. I can tell you right now that Seattle will never ever commit another foul. His team has never committed a foul.
No.
His opponent travels every time they have the ball.
Every time.
Yep. Yeah. So they've never committed a foul, and his opponent has committed a turnover on every single possession.
I don't know how Eastern has won any games ever.
It's remarkable.
Yeah,
it is absolutely unreal. He's one of those kinds of coaches, is what I'm saying. And I could identify.
And you and I get a front row seat to that on the court side next to.
And I would put him in my top 3. I don't know about you, but Tyler Geving at Portland State is like that. The Vikings have never done anything wrong.
Never.
And I guess I would say the same about Jack Murphy at Northern Arizona. Those are the three that really stand out to me.
And Tyler Geving also, he departed Portland State earlier this year. So, and I actually like Tyler a lot. He is one of those coaches,
probably all nice, likable guys. It's just the courtside demeanor that gets very irritating after a while.
So Shantae Leggins, who has been an assistant, a longtime assistant with the Eagles, has been bumped up to head coach. They announced that today. So obviously this has been a move that's kind of been in the making for a little bit. So he's a well-respected guy. Eastern Washington people really like him. Okay. He's been there for a long time. Right. So, it's not like much is going to change over there in the Eastern Washington basketball program with Shantae Leggins.
Well, in Scott Gurnsey's absence, you did a fine job with Steal of the Week. Did you have time to find an athlete that maybe went a little astray, shall we say?
There's always a few. There's just always a couple little things. And I'm looking at some of the stories this week, and I'm going, no, I don't want to talk about that. Well, it's dumb, but it's not that dumb, So I'm just gonna buck Gurnsey's tradition here, and I'm gonna go with a second steal of the week because we're talking about basketball.
Sure.
And it's the freaking NCAA tournament. It's the best thing in the world. So we're gonna talk about Oregon and KU. And here's why. Here's why it's the stupid athletes of the week is Kansas. How do you have pretty much a home game and you blow it? You come out, you sleep through the second half basically, and Oregon just goes bonkers. I thought it was a really fun game to watch because Oregon was just loving it out there. Mm-hmm. They couldn't miss. Kansas. What did I write down here? Kansas came out and shot 35% from the floor and 20% from three-point range. 5 of 25. They were throwing up garbage from three-point land, and it was just you could tell it was one of those where they got down and they're like, oh, we got to get. Oh God, we're gonna get. We got to get to these threes. It's gonna fall, and they started forcing it, and it wasn't happening. Yeah. So on the other hand, Oregon was just lights out, and I love to see that. Jordan Bell had 2 blocks away from a triple-double, which doesn't do anything. When they played us, and that's the other part about this Oregon deal that I love, is when
Oregon played Montana.
Montana played Oregon on December 13th, and Oregon won, obviously, 81-67. But we held our own. We held them scoreless for a 7-minute stretch, I think, of that game, something like that. And Maud Rory, 19 points. Mike O'Guiney and Walt Wright, 12 points. But Tyler Dorsey didn't do much in that game at all.
Well, yeah, and if there was a team that I really underestimated when I was making my picks and filling out my bracket, it was Oregon, because I didn't do enough research to go beyond. Man, they lost their starting center. They lost one of their key. You're not going to advance very far in an NCAA tournament without a key component like that. It's really too bad. I was bummed out about it, but I didn't think that they would move much further. We don't have much time left.
Oh, there's so much to talk about.
Everybody's hanging on, where we left off with the football program, and in the final minute or so, maybe you can give us a little more insight on that.
Well, there's all kinds of stuff. Spring game, obviously, April 22nd coming up. The spring game is in Butte this year in Naranche Stadium. That's going to be an awesome event. So mark your calendars for that. Get over to Butte. Tickets available now, grizztix.com. And yeah, the practices are every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The guys are just getting into the pads, getting into the hitting. It's looking great. There's so much happening over at UM. The track team in action this year at the Al Manuel annual event over there. So that's always a big deal for the Montana track team. We got softball who's kicking butt. Freshman Michaela Hood went 3-0 last week. Got named Big Sky Pitcher of the Week.
Yeah.
So softball, they went 2-1 against North Dakota and 1-1 against Boise State. So get out and watch some Grizz softball. Those ladies are playing fantastic.
As always, a treat to have you in here. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, Eric Tabor, Sports Information Director, University of Montana, filling in for Scott Gurnsey. Thank you for joining us for Sports Talk tonight. We will see you next Wednesday from 6 till 7 right here on KGVO.
At Belmacall Ford in Hamilton, they take